liberals mad as hell at what Trump is having Ivanka do in his place while he's on overseas trip. For every major milestone that President Trump reaches in his career as president, the mainstream media finds a way to undercut him with the American people. Given, we as Americans, are starting to wise up to their tricks, but it's still a frustrating thing for any person to be repeatedly lied about. This extreme form of media bias has given way to the president dealing with them the way anyone deals with a hostile force. He calls them out. Since they're not used to that level of brazen aggression from the politicians that they typically use and abuse, the liberal anchors that make up the major news networks have tried even harder to sow mistrust in the hearts and minds of Americans. President Trump, knowing what is going on, has leaned heavily on live interviews, a tactic employed by the late great Ronald Reagan, and has also added the use of social media to his guerrilla communication tactics. While any given American might not always agree with what the president says or does, he leaves no doubt about his true feelings for anyone who wants to know them. Because of the backhanded warfare that the media has launched against the president, he has decided that leaving the country unattended with a wolf at the door isn't in our best interest, so he's leaving some of his top cabinet members to keep us informed while he's gone. According to Daily Mail, that includes his daughter and advisor, Ivanka Trump Kushner, first daughter and White House aide. Ivanka Trump won't accompany her father President Trump on his 12-day trip to Asia, instead heading back stateside after delivering a speech in Japan. Axios reported Tuesday that Ivanka Trump, along with Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin and Economic Advisor Gary Cohn, will hold tax reform events in the U.S. instead, laying the public opinion groundwork with voters while President Trump is away. The White House wouldn't confirm the report with a senior administration official telling reporters after the story broke that casting decisions for the Asia trip would be announced by National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster later this week. "I'm not going to go into the specifics of who's where, and when, and at what stop. I'll leave that to later this week with General McMaster," the official told journalists at a Tuesday morning briefing. But in the Roosevelt room about an hour later, the president confirmed that at least Mnuchin and Cohn will be staying home. Obviously, considering the state of affairs in the region, this trip to Asia is vitally important to United States safety as well as international relations. The president is responsible for making sure that the United States is properly represented when it comes to international diplomacy. However, that doesn't mean that the mainstream media will call a ceasefire to their cheap shots and less than savory political takedown attempts. The Trump campaign focused on several issues that are extremely important to the middle class, and one of those was tax reform. And since the best defense is a good offense, the president is dispatching some of those he trusts the most to make his message of tax relief clear to Americans across the country. "While I'm in Asia, members of my cabinet will be traveling all around the country talking directly to taxpayers and focusing on the regional media, which we've found to be much more credible media to be honest with you," Trump first said. He then motioned to Mnuchin and Cohn, who were both attending the meeting, alongside business leaders, who Trump assembled to talk tax reform. "They'll be staying here and will continue to work closely with all of you," Trump pledged. Both Ivanka Trump and Kushner accompanied the president on his two previous foreign trips, though they broke off to spend a date night in Rome in May, before peeling off and heading back to the United States. The Trump administration has made it clear that they plan to do everything they can to ignore anything and everything that gets in the way of progress, since they feel they owe the American people as much progress as possible. However, the media has made their war on the president very personal, and they seem to be doing everything they possibly can to get in the way of progress. If there's one thing that we learned from the 2016 campaign, when the president promises to do something, he does it. So when he says that he will make good on his campaign promises no matter what the media says about him, history would indicate that he will do just that. At some point, if the media is smart, they're going to have to side with the person who's thinking outside of the box and making the American dream work. Otherwise, they're going to go the way of every other antiquated lying political machine, a rusty old tool in the back of the DNC's toolbox. Let it go.